Imagine waking up one morning like any other, stepping into your bathroom to begin the day, and finding yourself on the brink of disaster without any warning. The warm water cascades over you as it has thousands of times before, soothing your joints and lulling you awake. You feel safe, secure, familiar. But beneath the surface of this comforting ritual lies a silent threat that many people over 60 unknowingly face every day. Over the years, I have cared for countless patients who have suffered strokes, transient ischemic attacks, fainting episodes, and even brain bleeds, all triggered not by common culprits like smoking or high cholesterol, but by the simple series of actions in their morning shower routines. You might think, how could anything so ordinary be so dangerous? But when we look closely at how our bodies change with age, we begin to understand how ordinary habits can become perilous. Our bodies, after 6 decades of life, no longer respond to stresses the way they once did. The dynamics of blood flow, the elasticity of our arteries, the responsiveness of our hearts to changes in temperature and position, all of these factors evolve subtly over time. A habit you developed in your 40s or 50s might have once been entirely harmless, but now, under the surface, it may trigger dramatic shifts in your cardiovascular system. In the moments it takes to rinse shampoo from your hair, you could be setting off a chain reaction. Blood vessels dilate under hot water, your blood pressure dips as you rise from sleep, and the combined effect starves parts of your brain of oxygen. A clot may form or dislodge, traveling to block a vital artery, and suddenly the routine you trusted becomes the very thing that steals your independence. I think back to a 75-year-old retired carpenter named Leonard James. For 4 decades, he began each morning with a 20-minute hot shower, skipping breakfast to save time. One day, he sat on his shower bench, feeling the warmth soothe his stiff joints, when his speech slurred and one side of his body went weak. He had never hit his head or felt chest pain, yet a scan revealed he had suffered an ischemic stroke. The culprit: the perfect storm of hot water dilating his aging vessels, a natural drop in blood pressure upon standing, and inadequate hydration. When I spoke to his wife, she told me how he believed a hot shower energized him for the day. In reality, it was draining life from his brain a few drops at a time. Then there was Robert Hayes, a vigorous 79-year-old former firefighter who embraced cold rinses after his warm shower. He believed the shock of icy water would sharpen his circulation and fortify his heart. For weeks, he felt invigorated. But one frigid winter morning, after a 30-second blast of cold water, he gripped his chest and collapsed. Diagnosis: a transient ischemic attack triggered by a sudden spike in blood pressure from rapid vasoconstriction, combined with the early morning surge in cortisol and his age-worn arteries. He had inadvertently used a health tip against himself, and in that brief moment of hyper-alertness, his heart and brain paid the price. Timing in the morning plays a deceptive role as well. Between 5 and 8 a.m., our bodies experience a natural surge in stress hormones and blood pressure. For younger individuals, this internal alarm clock simply helps us wake up. For older adults with stiffer arteries or on blood pressure medications, it can push the cardiovascular system to the brink. Picture someone like Carol Matthews, an 83-year-old former piano teacher who never missed a 6:15 a.m. shower before her breakfast at 7. One day, as she stepped out of the steam, her right arm went limp, her face drooped, and her daughter found her on the floor. Scans revealed an ischemic stroke caused by the collision of early morning blood pressure elevation, hot water dilatation, and dehydration. A routine that once gave her structure had turned into a daily time bomb. Balance and stability add yet another layer of risk. The smooth porcelain tiles and wet surfaces in most bathrooms create a slip and fall hazard that too often leads to devastating injury. At 82, William Turner, a retired veteran, prided himself on independence, refusing any home modifications. One morning his foot slipped, he struck his head, and later was diagnosed with both a concussion and a stroke in the right hemisphere of his brain. The impact of the fall, combined with a pre-existing clot that dislodged in the chaos, cost him much of his mobility and forced him into a nursing facility when he had planned to age in place. Even the very air in a poorly ventilated bathroom can become a threat. Warm steam may feel indulgent, but under a cloud of humidity and without fresh air, oxygen levels drop. For someone like Elaine Foster, 77, suffering from mild COPD, each steamy 20-minute shower was a low-oxygen chamber that she did not realize was robbing her brain of the air it needed. She began experiencing dizziness and fleeting slurred speech, fearing dementia, until we discovered her bathroom's lack of ventilation was causing transient hypoxia. A simple window crack and a fan installation restored her clarity in days. Meals, too, play a part in this hidden danger. After eating, blood rushes to the digestive tract, leaving less available for the brain. In younger bodies this shift is tolerable, but for those over 60 with less adaptable circulatory systems, standing in warm water after breakfast or lunch can magnify the blood redistribution, triggering fainting spells or strokes. Hattie Reynolds, age 80, survived a mild ischemic stroke after combining oatmeal, coffee, and a hot shower within minutes. The drought of oxygen to her brain in those hot, humid minutes almost cost her speech and mobility. What about standing too long in one position? Harold Dawson, 81, enjoyed his 5-minute pause under warm water, but as his leg muscles weakened with age, blood pooled in his calves. One morning he fainted in the shower, and a clot formed in his leg traveled to his brain, causing a stroke that left his left side compromised. The simple act of standing still became a silent trap as the heart and brain were denied the pump action that leg muscles once provided. Movement within the shower can be just as perilous. Quick bends to pick up soap, sudden twists to rinse hard to reach spots. Any abrupt positional change can precipitate a drop in blood pressure known as orthostatic hypertension. Gloria Bennett, a 76-year-old bookkeeper, bent to reach her razor and blacked out instantly, the fall accompanied by a blood clot forming from turbulent flow in her vessels. Her hand lost dexterity, and her independence was forever altered by a movement she performed thousands of times. Finally, medications life-saving for many can widen the window of danger when combined with hot showers. Blood pressure pills, diuretics, beta blockers alter how vessels respond to heat and gravity. Dennis Morgan, 79, took his morning pills at 6:45 a.m. and jumped into a hot shower 15 minutes later. He collapsed with a stroke caused by a precipitous drop in pressure, amplified by vessel dilation under hot water and upright posture. His left hand trembles to this day. When we weave these factors together, temperature, timing, position, support, ventilation, hydration, food, medication, and environmental safety, the picture emerges clearly. Showering is a complex physical event, far more than a simple hygiene task. For seniors, each variable must be managed mindfully to preserve blood flow, maintain balance, and protect the brain. Safety is achievable with intentional steps: wake gently, sit up slowly, drink water, and wait after medications and meals. Test the water temperature, install grab bars, non-slip mats, and a stable chair. Keep everything within reach to avoid sudden movements. Ensure ample ventilation and limit standing time. These adjustments transform a dangerous ritual into a safe routine, allowing independence to flourish rather than fading on a bathroom floor. Across my years of practice, the refrain is always the same: no one handed my patients a playbook when they turned 60. Yet the missing manual is simple awareness of how our bodies evolve, and a few intentional changes can safeguard our most precious asset, our brain. It starts with a pause before stepping into the spray, a moment of care that honors decades of life and preserves all that we hold dear. Tomorrow morning, take that moment. Ask yourself if your body is ready, if your heart and brain have been given the time and support they need. If you do, you become the steward of your own safety. And in that act, you reclaim the ritual of the shower not as a risk, but as a renewed expression of life, each day lived fully and on your own terms.